Welcome to this week's episode. I'm Paula Williams.
I'm John Williams.
And we are ABCI, and ABCI's mission is
to help all you ladies and gentlemen out there in the aviation world sell more of your products and services.
Absolutely. So this week we are talking about 12 signs that you need a website refresh. And John has a new coffee cup.
Well, because of some of your feedback.
Exactly. This is for Tiberius Baxter, who wrote in a few weeks ago and was talking about how John oozes sarcasm, I think is the term he used.
Or sourcasm, or whatever.
Anyway, we really appreciate your comments, and even when they are interesting. We'd love to hear what you like about the podcast, what you don't like about the podcast. Do make sure that you like and share the episodes that you like and want to share, because it does really help the industry, I think, get better at sales. And getting better at sales improves our profits, it improves the industry, it improves innovation, supports everybody's families, the whole 9 yards, right?
And makes it safer.
And makes it safer.
In general.
Absolutely. The more the merrier. So, do share the love and let us know what you think, even if you don't love it, right? Okay. So, 12 signs that you need a website refresh. We've been seeing a lot of these lately, and, it just changed over to the new year. It's now January or February when you're listening to this, and a lot of websites still have, 1996 in the footer, copyright information. So now's a really good time to take a look at your website and see, that's not the only sign that maybe it's outdated, right?
No.
Okay. So, the first one.
Nope.
The most obvious.
That is not the first one.
Okay. What is the first one?
The first and most important sign that you need a website replaced, refreshed, is when you get a call from one of your previous customers says, "Are you still in business? I can't tell by looking at your website."
Exactly. And
that's actually happened to one of our clients. Right?
It's time to refresh your website. If people look at your website and they wonder, this looks like 1985. I wonder if this company is still in business. And that really is the first thing that goes through some people's minds when they see a very visually outdated website. They think, is this company really still active, and are they really still somebody I should be doing business with?
Yes.
Right? Okay, so visually out of date. A second reason is maybe your competitors have redesigned. That is usually a sign that there is something that's happened in the market that you should take a look at. It's possible that they're going to adjust their search engine optimization. It is possible that they are going to update their product and service offerings and other things like that. So you do want to take a look at your competitors' sites on a frequent and regular basis. We do that with our clients once a month when we do their reports and things like that, just to make sure that we're still up to date. If they've changed something, then that's often a sign that we should too.
And we discuss from time to time our own website and whether it needs to be refreshed.
Exactly. And we're watching those search engine numbers and traffic numbers for ourselves and our competitors, and for our clients and their competitors, to look for any huge variations. And when you see somebody's website all of a sudden, that's been petering along for years, all of a sudden go through the roof for a particular keyword, you're thinking,
Or you should be thinking.
Yep, time to
do something.
And recognize the competition is a force in business and a force in aviation, and it needs to be responded to. Okay, third one is that your site is text heavy. I love text personally, and I love having a lot of text on a website, but there's a lot of ways to organize that text in ways that are visually attractive, and most of it should be what we call below the fold. And the reason they call it that is because, remember when they used to print newspapers on paper? It was the weirdest thing, right? And then they would fold that paper, right? And then they would fold it again, right? So if we had a paper here, and we don't get the paper anymore, they stopped printing the Wall Street Journal in our area. So here we are without a newspaper to show you. But they fold it up so that the top half of the page is what's visible when you're looking at a stack of newspapers. Or if you are at one of those old newspaper machines with a window in front that shows what's on the newspaper. So that's what we call above the fold, if it's in the visible section of that front bit of paper.
Which translates to what you see on the screen of
Exactly.
a typical 8.5 by 11 screen PC.
Exactly. So in the business we call that above the fold when really nothing is folded.
It's not really 8.5 by 11, but whatever your screen is, it will adjust so that you see the top half.
The top bit of the page.
Right.
And that should be incredibly visual because people process visuals a lot better than they process text. And they will never read your text unless you capture their attention with a really striking image, especially on your homepage, right?
Right.
Okay. Other pages maybe not quite so much. They're expecting more data.
As they click away from the front page.
Right. But anytime you can use charts or graphs or a picture or anything else in that front top part of a page, you want to do that. So, yeah, don't be text heavy. If you are, it's a good sign that you need a website refresh, right?
At least if it's on the front page.
Yeah. Okay. Your navigation is complicated. How many times have you gone to a website and not been able to find what you're looking for?
Oh, too many times.
Right. So it's really important.
And it only happens when I actually want to buy something.
Right. It's really important for aviation decision makers, especially because they are busy people. And if they can't find what they're looking for, they're just going to call your phone number if they're that
If
interested.
it's there.
Or they're just going to click to the next website on the list and go to your competitor for what they're after because they couldn't find it on your site. So they think you don't have it, or that it's not emphasized, or that you don't know what you're doing.
Or it's just too frustrating.
Yeah, exactly. Or that you're not going to be easy to deal with in person because people extrapolate their first impression, right? Which, if that's your website, they think, oh, wow, these people are confusing and messy and hard to deal with, right? Okay. Number 5, your website doesn't show up well on Google. Now, this didn't used to be all that important to a lot of companies that did most of their first contacts by trade show. So, you meet somebody at a trade show, you hand them your card or a brochure or whatever. They go home. When they need something, they've got your card. They look you up on the web. No search engine involved, right?
Except that now, trade shows, at least for last year and looking like this year, may be moot.
Right. HAI just got canceled.
I know.
That's disappointing.
It was. I was going to go to it.
I know. And, so we're all missing the trade shows. But what that means is that if somebody needs something, they haven't met you in any other way, likely they're going to go to Google or to DuckDuckGo or to Bing or to Yahoo or whatever, and they're going to type in what?
Whatever they think they're looking for.
Exactly, hangar space in Cleveland, or whatever it is that they need at the moment. And if they don't find you, they're going to go to somebody else who has hangar space in Cleveland that they can find on the web. Then they're not going to spend a lot of time on it. They're going to look at the first 3 to 5 results and go with that. And if you are number 25 for hangar space in Cleveland, and that's what you want to sell, you're up a creek, right?
Yeah.
Without a paddle.
Yeah, I sometimes will go to the second page if I'm looking for something particular, but beyond that, I'll do another search.
But if you find what you're looking for in the top 3 or 5 results,
right.
You'd never scroll past.
Nope.
Right, exactly. So you want to be in the top 5 for your really important keywords. And for each of our clients, we do a top 10 list of keywords, right? And then we try to get them into the top 5 on Google when we're doing SEO for a client. And when we do a website redesign or refresh, of course that's
part of it.
Primary, exactly. In fact, the way that we structure their site will be so that those keywords are primary in in the actual way that we set up their navigation and everything else, because there are some ways of making that work better and more efficiently so that people find exactly what they're looking for.
Exactly.
Yeah. And they find you, right? Okay. You can't update your content easily. If I went right now to the About Us page on your website, are all of those people still working with you? My guess from the experience that I have in working with websites is probably not. There's somebody there that's already moved on, or there is some new person that is not yet listed.
Or somebody got promoted.
Or somebody got promoted, right. Or somebody has a picture from 1987 in their,
1996 website.
Exactly. And so, you've got some really dated material and dated pictures and other things on there. So the reason that happens often is because your website isn't easy to update. And you have to call a web designer and pay them hundreds of dollars to make a simple change. And if that's the case, you're just not going to do it.
No.
So what you really need to have is something that you can either update yourself, or you've got somebody who can do it inexpensively as part of the service that they provide for you on a weekly or monthly basis.
Exactly.
Right? Okay. Low conversions. Now, what is a conversion? Is that like, a religious experience?
It might be, depending on what you're selling.
Exactly. On a website, a conversion is usually when someone does what you want them to do. So on a lot of websites, the conversion event is sign up for our newsletter, pick up the phone and give us a call, fill in a contact us form, request a demo, request a quote, right?
Yep.
Do something, right? You want someone to do something as a result of having been to your website. If nobody is doing anything as a result of having been to your website, and you've got this join our newsletter form on your website and nobody's filled it out in months, that is a sign
that you need a website refresh.
Exactly. Your website's not doing its job. It is not earning its keep. It is not worth having if it is not inspiring some kind of action, right?
Yes. And I've even heard people say that, well, we just use our website as sort of a resume. Well, maybe. But if you're really trying to do sales, you got to do more than that.
Right. And why? Why is that all your website is? I mean, why bother having a website if that's all it is? It is so easy to make it interactive, to invite people to do something, to participate in your company, right?
One would think.
Exactly. If you're in business, you want customers or partners or, students or whatever it is that you want. Right? Okay. If you have and this is actually two, but we're lumping them together, a high bounce rate or low amount of time on the site. So in this example, the bounce rate is 83.68. So what does that mean? That means that 83.68 people, of the people that visit this website, about 84 of them, if
100 people did it, then 83 or 84 of them actually saw the page, said screw it, and then left.
Right. So the bounce rate just basically means they arrived on the first page on your site. They did not interact with anything else. They didn't touch the navigation. They didn't touch any links. They didn't scroll up and down. They didn't do any of those kinds of things. They just left. Now, if your website is something that people check periodically because you do like market rates or something like that, and you send out an update once a week, that's okay. That's what you expect. People are just going there for one piece of information and they're on their way.
But you need to do the analysis and do it frequently and regularly.
Exactly. But for most of us, we've got a lot of information on our website, and when someone comes to our website, we expect them to spend a little bit of time scrolling or navigating around or reading or looking. So we want that time on page or time on site to be long, and we want the bounce rate to be low, right?
Right.
Okay. Cool. Number 11, slow load speed. And these are not in any particular order, because any one of these can be really a killer, right?
Yeah. Except for the one I said first.
Except for the one that you said first. Of course, that's the most important, because John said it was.
No, I mean, if somebody calls you and tells you, are you still in business?
Yeah.
I can't tell from your website.
Well, this could be even worse, because if your site loads too slow, it will never come up, and they will assume that you're out of business, and they won't even call and ask if you're out of business.
True.
Right? They will just go, oh, well, those guys aren't even there anymore. So people have very little patience nowadays. They have their mobile devices, so a lot of them are in low data mode and are, just looking for something really quickly. If your site doesn't load fast, they're going to assume that it's not there. They're going to go on to the next source of information because they're looking for an answer to a question, or they're looking for a particular product or service really quickly. Pilots en route to an airport, right, will use their cell phones to find the lowest gas price or the lowest tie down or a place to have lunch, or whatever it is that they're looking for. The co-pilot, hopefully, or somebody who is not.
In general aviation, that would be true.
Absolutely. So I say, you have the airplane, and then John has the airplane, and I have the cell phone, and I am looking for a hotel or or lunch or whatever. So if something doesn't load quickly without a lot of data on my phone, then I'm going to assume I'm going to go on to the next thing, and somebody's lost out on a fuel sale or a lunch or a night in a hotel or whatever. So, all right. Also, that will drop you down on the, we had talked about your Google rank. Google will punish you if your site doesn't load quickly, and they won't put you in the top 5 on that list because they don't want to frustrate the people that are using their service, right? They want to have the best pages up at the top, as they should, right? All right. Number 12, and this is one that's come to light because as of last month, Adobe Flash is no longer supported. So if you have a website, and there were a lot of them that used Adobe Flash for something, whether that's a slider or a calculator or some kind of animation or any number of different things, there is going to be a broken thing that looks like this. It's a big gray square with a broken puzzle piece saying, error. The Adobe plugin is not working or is not found or is, in error or whatever, and the Adobe company is no longer supporting that. So if your site depends on technology that is no longer being used, your site is broken, and having a broken website looks really bad, right?
Or if you got a website that won't readjust the picture for an iPad versus an iPhone versus a computer, it's just as broken.
Right, okay, so there's a number 13. Is your website mobile friendly? If it is not mobile friendly and it doesn't look good, type in your website address into your iPhone or your Android or whatever and take a look at it. There are actually some things on the web that you can use as an emulator so that you can look at your website on different devices and see what other people are seeing when they go to your website. And some of them, the page is just as wide as it would be on a big screen, and you're having to scroll sideways.
That ain't good.
Yeah, and if you want to read something, you have to scroll back and forth every single line. It's insane. People aren't going to do that. So that is a very good number 13. Good job. I should have consulted you before we did this.
I don't have any good
podcast.
ideas.
You have fantastic ideas. All right. So what is included in our website refresh? We actually have a whole article on what the process is like, how we go through our consultation and our 31-point checklist, and then we create a copy of your site using new technology, and then we basically change all of the things that we agreed to in our 31-point checklist and make sure that it is up to date and meets all of the things that we talked about, right?
Exactly.
Okay. And then we don't launch it live. Your customers will never see anything that we're doing.
Until you approve it.
Until you approve it. Once you approve it, we usually choose a weekend. We have a nice cutover process where we make sure that everything is as it should be and tested and in good shape so that people visiting your website one day will see your old site and the next day they see the new site with no, under construction signs. You remember
Right.
They used to have that little animation with the guy.
Yeah.
You'll never see that.
No, because we have a sandbox and we have a URL that's just freaky long and nobody could remember it, so it's written down. You can click on it from the note you get and then look at it and watch it as it gets better.
Exactly. And people who have worked with us on their websites know that this is a really collaborative process. So, you may think you want one thing, but then when you actually see it on the screen, you go, that's not really what I thought I wanted. So, and that's fine. We go through that as many times as we need to until you are happy and get that site up and running in the way you want it and something that you're proud to share, right?
Exactly.
All right. And is doing its job and is bringing you leads and all of those things. So it's more important than ever because of, I hate saying this, because of COVID, all of those shows that have been canceled, all of those other methods of selling that you have, a lot of them have been either put on hold or eliminated or hampered in some way. But your website is the one thing that you have absolute control of. You don't have control over the social media necessarily. They're all third parties.
Mm-hmm.
They run by their own rules. The trade shows are going to do what they're going to do. You can't control that. A lot of other things are controlled by third parties that you really can't influence. Your website, though, is your own real estate. It's your property. So if you own a business on your own real estate, the landlord can't raise the rent on you. You can't change the rules and say you can't have people park here. There's a lot of businesses in our town where the owners of the property are out of town and they have no idea what's going on in this little community, and they're making the rules for a lot of these small businesses. And it's really frustrating for a lot of business owners to be building on real estate that is not their own. And that's what happens when you rely on marketing platforms that you don't control, right?
And the website you absolutely control.
Absolutely. And it's the only one, really. Except for maybe if you do printed newsletters and things like that, you're still relying on the post office and things like that. So it really is, I think, the only one that you truly, truly control. Mm-hmm. Unless you host like an event, like you have a big owner event, where you invite everybody for dinner.
But you can't do that right now.
That's true. Yeah. So that's controlled by the health department of whatever county you're in. So anyway, crazy stuff. You do own your website. It is a fantastic investment. We recommend at least once every 3 years to do a website refresh. And it might be minor or it might be major, but do it every 3 years, right?
Yep.
All right. Go sell more stuff.
Yep, the industry needs the business.